The godfather of Philadelphia sports talk. By the way, Hall of Fame stuff last week. I'm dying to hear the speech that he gave because I heard it was off the chain. I heard people started doing this when Angelo was talking about the media. I heard some guys were going like this. Ow. Ow. Let's bring in our friend, Angelo Cataldi, legendary WIP guy. How you doing, Angelo? Appreciate you doing this, my friend.
How am I doing? The Eagles are 8-2. How could I be doing any better, Dan?
Angelo, are you shocked? Are you shocked right now, them being 8-2? I mean, are you shocked? What's the most surprising thing to you on where this team is right now?
I did a deep dive into how stupid I am to have predicted 5 wins in Nostradamus. That whole thing I do with you guys, right? But I just posted this on my website if people want to read it, AngeloCattali.com, after I ripped the Sixers for about 20 paragraphs. But Dan, they haven't beaten anybody yet. I'm saying the 6 wins, right? The first 5 combined record of those teams right now, 13-38. 13-38. And they caught the Commanders in a real down time in their season. If they'd have caught the Commanders the first 3 or 4 weeks, they would have had a problem. Daniels was on fire. They were lighting it up.
They were coming off the Steeler game, too. Coming off the Steeler game.
Yeah. Terrible loss. And Daniels is not playing the way he did initially. My guess is those ribs that he hurt are still hurt. He's not running nearly as much. He was a difference maker with his feet. And you're not seeing that right now. Now, I'm sorry. People haven't adjusted that well to his running speed that he's suddenly not that big a threat anymore. Hurts is still a threat. Jackson's still a threat in Baltimore. I just don't think he's doing it as much. There's 3 games coming up that are going to tell me the truth about the Eagles. I'm not on board. I think what Moore's doing with the running game, it's something Sirianni never had the brains to do, or even Steichen, or whoever the hell was calling the plays last year. They're running the football. Do you know how much this city loves when they do that? And when you've got a guy like Barkley, just give him the ball. Sometime in a game, he's going to break one. It's got to happen. Happens every game. I like the play call, and I thought he's done an amazing job with it. Better play call than I've seen since Sirianni got here. I'll say that much. But they've got the Rams in LA next Sunday, and this is where you'll see if they've really made that big an improvement in covering the pass, because they've got Nakua and they've got Kupp, and that is a tandem that's comparable to the Eagles with Brown and Smith. And I want to see how the Eagles do against that, because I watched the Rams closely yesterday, and Stafford's throwing it well again. And those guys are always open. And I want to see how the Eagles, that's a big, to me, I think the Eagles are going to score a lot of points on the Rams. They don't look good defensively. But I want to watch the Eagles defend Stafford and those receivers. That's going to be great. Then they got the Ravens. That's a great test. And coming up after that, there's one other game that looks
Steelers. They got the Steelers somewhere.
The Steelers. And the Steelers are really good. They're playing great football right now. Let's see them do that instead of all these patsies. And if they come out of that with a couple of wins and good performances, then I might talk a little bit about the big game, although the Lions look really great right now. Man, the Lions look like it's going to be tough. They win the coaching battle. Let's put it that way. It's not even that close. So I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon yet, although they've outperformed by far what I thought they would do this year, the Eagles.
How about this too, Angelo? I brought this up, setting this up as we brought you on here. Last 4 quarters, and really pretty much the entire 2024 year, I don't really think the offensive passing game has improved. That's down in the 20s still. I mean, He's now 7th or 6th in taking sacks. They've replaced the turnovers because that stalls drives. One moment it looks like he throws dimes through a porthole. The next minute he can't hit the broadside of a barn. And Angelo, to me, I watched Russell Wilson yesterday. He throws an awful pick in the back of the end zone. The next series he comes back and he drives his team down and they end up scoring. And that was one of the decisive plays in the game. They were being outplayed by Baltimore, but here's a guy that didn't make the gigantic bad mistake. He kind of was right in the middle here. He made one bad one here, then he came back and made the other one. He kind of hangs here. With Jalen, to me, these big swings. Can you win a Super Bowl, do you think, on a consistent basis once you get into the Super Bowl? Maybe you completely disagree with me, but I just don't think he's played consistent ball this year. And I don't really see where the passing game's improved.
Yeah. The biggest thing to me is they haven't maximized this surplus of pass catching talent. Dan, the Eagles have never had more talent catching the football than they have right now. If you include Barkley with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and even Dotson every once in a while will show you something. There's a lot, and Goddard and Calcaterra's done better. There's a lot of guys there that are capable of making a big, gash in the defense that haven't been used yet. They're not throwing the ball long much anymore. Yeah. And that's always been its strength. So You're right that they haven't. But one of the reasons they haven't is that they've been so hooked in on running the ball with success. So, look, when you win 6 in a row, Dan, whatever you're going to say by way of criticism of the Eagles after 6 straight wins is going to ring hollow because the fans right now think they're back on a big roll. And when you won 6 in a row, it's hard to argue, although my argument is you got to beat the better teams.
You're right. Angelo, a year ago when I was ripping the team at 10-1, I said, that's not the team.
You're right.
Okay. People were looking at me like, how can you say that when you're 10-1 or 10-2? I'm like, because you see the deficiencies. Like you said, I mean, look at what you have even coming up on the back end of the schedule here. You got Tommy DeVito now that they sat Daniel Jones. So you're going to get him and Cooper Rush. Is that really going to be a litmus test? I'm telling you how good your defense is. So you're going to be going into these playoffs when you're going to be taking on really good coaching. And whatever you want to say about Jared Goff, yesterday, 420, 4 touchdowns coming off the 5-pick game, and they still won that 5-pick game. Detroit, I picked them to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, Angelo, I'm with you. I really don't see anything. Prior to that game against Washington, the opponents were 8-28. I mean, I just don't see it. But let me ask you this question here. If you had to pick a running back to win you a ball game, would you take Saquon Barkley or would you take Shady McCoy?
Oh, Barkley. I was never a McCoy guy. McCoy's a dancer. But McCoy was phenomenally explosive when you got him in the open field in his prime. He also had as many runs for loss as any Eagle I can remember in the last 20 years. He dances. If the hole's not there right away, he would just go into a dance and often get knocked back in front of the line. No, Barkley's a better runner. He's a better pass catcher. He's a better blocker. He's better at everything than Shady McCoy. And if you said to me, who's right behind him? I know there's a lot of great runners. Obviously, what's going on with the Ravens right now, that's fantastic. But I still love DeAndre Swift. I love watching him.
He was great yesterday, too, by the way, for the Bears.
That was one of my arguments when I didn't think the Eagles had made enough of a gain in the offseason. They already had a really good runner in Swift. Not a good blocker, though, all right? And I still love watching that kid run the ball. He's a local guy. I'm a huge fan of him. And I miss him, although Barkley's better. Barkley's the best running back in football right now. In my estimate, he does everything well. I just hope he stays healthy because that was the other concern I had. He hadn't been healthy the last few years with the Giants, but knock on wood, he's been phenomenal. Seriously, Howie Roseman. Let's take a moment here to praise these guys, all right? Roseman's first 2 picks, right? are the two DBs who are doing fantastically well. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Phenomenal picks, right? He gets Barkley when nobody else was even bidding. He brings Barkley in. Zach Bond, where'd he come from?
Unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
Never seen
And
anything like it.
finally, in year 3, N'Kobe Dean's playing the way they would when they got him. These are all moves made by Howie that have really, really brought them back to where you look at the talent, you go, yeah, I think the talent's good enough. The talent's good enough with the right people coaching them. And if they could just keep Sirianni out of the line of fire, if he doesn't have to do anything, they could do so. I still don't think they're as good as the Lions. I'm positive they're not as good as the Chiefs. But they still, that's why this is fun.
Yeah.
Because we're watching it, we're going, 8-2, holy, really? Nobody saw that coming. Nobody had him 8-2 after 10 games. Let's see what happens next. That's why I love football. You never know for sure.
How about this, Angelo? I heard Ray Didinger say that he believes that Quinyon Mitchell just might be the greatest Eagle rookie of all time. I mean, you've covered your team a long time here. I mean, Jerome Brown back in the day. I mean, you've seen so many great football players that have come through that facility there. Do you believe he might actually be the best rookie prospect that they've ever had?
I mean, I am never going to challenge Ray Didinger on Eagles history, but I think that maybe a tad premature given the people he's had to cover. Ask me next week. I told you, Cup is really good. And Nakua, wow, that guy's amazing. And I want to see these young guys, these rookies, face that test. That's where you're going to see something. Let's see what happens then. Veteran quarterback is not going to eat the ball as much as some of these young guys have been eating, that the Eagles have been getting, having their way with. This is a fascinating game, win or lose, even if the Eagles win it, because they're probably going to score a lot of points. I can't wait for next Sunday night to see how the Eagles handle two elite receivers on the same team at the same time. What are you going to do? Because Slay, he's not option 1 anymore.
No.
He's still okay, but it's going to be fascinating. That's why football is the best sport, because there's always something else to look forward to. And I can't wait for the next game.
Angelo, do you think this is a Super Bowl roster with deficiencies on it? And most notably, the coach, when you're looking at the talent, you're looking at the assistant coaches, and I agree with you. I think that Kellen Moore decided he went like this. Look, this guy Barkley, and I agree, Angelo, if you take the quarterbacks out of the conversation, think of this, take all the quarterbacks in the league out of the conversation. Is there anybody in the NFL right now playing better than Barkley? I can't think of anybody else in the league playing better ball than him. So you can make the argument he's one of the most valuable players to a respected football team. And that, to me, is the metric you use for MVP. It's not about stats, Angelo. If I took that guy off that Eagle team, I don't think they're the same team.
I gotta laugh here. I have to, because I always am more amused by failure. The Giants, right? The Giants. While we're having this discussion about whether Barkley's the best player in football, the Giants are going to what Tommy Colcuts, what the hell's his name?
Tommy DeVito. They went from buyer's remorse with Penny's Jones now, and now Joe Schoen goes like this and he bullshits him, telling him, hey, give me a shot of resigning. So you let Barkley walk. Angelo, they let Barkley walk out of the building for no compensation.
Nothing.
He just walked out, and now I'm talking about him a potential MVP.
Oh, my God. Brian Daboll, Joe Stone, whatever. Those guys they are dead men walking. They got help, right? They went to DeVito because they want to lose games now. They want to get a top pick and get a quarterback. They've given up on Jones. How much money they owe him? But when they're watching the Eagles and Barkley is running amok with 150, 200 yards a game, all purpose, they must be saying to themselves, you know what? I'm stupid.
Yeah,
There's no other explanation. How did you let that happen?
absolutely.
He wouldn't have
They're
left.
tanking for Shador Sanders now. That's what they're going to start doing. They're going
Oh,
to go after Shador.
oh, that's fine. You know what? Do you get Dion with him? Because if so, no thanks.
I think Dion may be on his way to Florida State with that coach down there in
Oh,
trouble. So he may be going back home. Angelo, I want to switch gears with you here. So I'm hearing Joel Embiid is
oh,
a no-show for tonight.
oh,
And he's not, by the way, we're having Marcus Hayes on with us at
yeah.
5:30. So I'm going to talk to him about that whole fiasco and how that thing has been absolutely swept under the rug.
Yep.
I mean, and it's embarrassing how this thing has been swept. I keep it going and keep firing at it going. The 76ers should be embarrassed by talking to the media people the way they do. My job is not to make you feel better about yourself. My job is to my audience, making sure that I tell you my opinion on how those guys are going around polluting the environment on this. And now you got Joel Embiid tonight, a no-show in that Heat game. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. A superstar player like that who just doesn't want to play and represent. I mean, Angelo, all the shit that was said about Ben Simmons and all the stuff that was said about some of the players that you've had over the past there. I mean, what's the process here? Help me out on this Sixer franchise, man, because I'm not getting it.
They're 2-10. I wrote about this today because this is the ultimate. And the people, the process people, I don't know what to say now because Spike Eskin and all that crew, take your time, relax, all this stuff. Here's the bottom line. When you sacrifice 4 years, you go out of your way to lose for 4 years. This is not supposed to happen. In the time that the players you had a chance to get are on the court, this should not be happening. Do you understand? I understand that Embiid's played 2 games. Paul's played 6 games. Now Maxey has got a hamstring thing. It's not the point. The Sixers have made it clear to their fans they don't give a damn about these games. They don't care. They don't give you the information about how injured they are. They had to be forced to add, left knee management. They had to put left knee injury management in because they didn't even want to say he was hurt. And he played 2 games of the first 12.
But Angelo, why would I give you an arena then?
Well,
if you don't give a shit about my dollar, why would I give that to you?
Well, that's a big con too, because in the end, the only reason that they got the support of the mayor is because they managed to get the unions on board, and the mayor can't go against this stupid Chinatown plan because she would lose the support of the unions in the vote. So she had to jump on when she knew it was bad for the city. Everyone knows it's bad for the city. No one's going to ever get out of that building after a game. There's no roadways near it to get them out of there. It's going to ruin the culture of Chinatown. But Joshua Harris wants it. Why? So he can line his pockets more. Let me tell you, the most appalling thing that happened on Thursday night at Lincoln Financial Field, when they showed that smug carpetbagger up in the luxury box, rooting right in the area where his Sixers play, rooting against Philadelphia, rooting against the Eagles because now he owns the Commanders. Screw him. Do you understand? This is the problem. A guy like this, a bean counter, like Joshua Harris, would not still be the owner of the Sixers if we had the same media we had 30 years ago. Because the media in this town ran Harold Katz out of town. He couldn't show his face without getting his ass booed. And now people look the other way. When a guy comes in to steal, there were people. This is what I wrote today. There were people that took their kid to the opening game. Let's say a mom and a pop and 2 kids wanted to see their hero, Joel Embiid. They put on their Embiid jerseys for opening night. There was no announcement at that point. He wasn't playing. We weren't sure whether he's going to be able to play. They spent, you know what the average price of a ticket is at Sixers? This is right on the internet. $250.
Holy
All right.
shit.
All right. They forked out $1,000, got to the game, sat down, no Embiid. Nope. None of the players that they wanted to see were in the game. Right. This is the mentality of that ownership. We don't care about the preseason. We don't care about the regular season. We don't care to give you any information. We're trying to fleece you out of a new arena in the middle of the city. We wouldn't acknowledge Wachovia Center. Wachovia Bank, way back, this is 12 years ago, 13 years ago, paid for the naming rights. And this guy came in and he said, we're not going to call it, we're going to just call it the center unless Wachovia Bank takes ads out for our broadcasts. These are the people you're dealing with, and they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it in Philadelphia because nobody gets mad anymore.
Angelo, I brought this up, and maybe you and me are the last to see this shit. So on Thursday, if you remember right, the Sixers unveiled their new uniforms because they knew Harris was going to be in the building. And he was double dipping the Sixer fans and the Philly fans. I'm sitting there watching this going, that piece of shit unveiled that new uniform because he didn't want it to be where he looked kind of odd, owning the Commanders, sitting in there and not getting hammered for rooting for his team. So what he did was the brand new jerseys. They could have did that any other day. It was strategically done.
You're right.
My problem with it was it just seems that he thinks the Philly fans are stupid. They're not stupid.
Well,
they're not stupid. That was done intentionally.
Where's the criticism? Where's the job of the media is to point this stuff out and get the fans angry. The angrier the fans are, the less they're going to stand by and let them build that arena in the middle of the city. That they can't see this man for what he is. He's the worst thing you can ask for in an owner. A guy who doesn't care about winning, never won a damn thing anywhere, doesn't really care about winning, just cares about making an investment, lining his pockets with more money, the only scoreboard in his life is his bank book. Screw Joshua Harris. Where are the people coming down on this job? When they showed him up, and here's how stupid I am, Dan. When they showed him at that Eagles game, I went, oh, that will work. Because Jeff Lurie, it's a little known story. Jeff Lurie got rid of Joe Banner years ago, almost 10 years now. For some reason, Jeff Lurie showed up at a Sixer game, right? And this is one of the biggest reasons that Banner's not there anymore, his best buddy. And up on the screen at one point comes Lurie's face. Up on the screen at the Sixers game. And boos. Loud boos. Boo! Boo! They're booing the crap out of Lurie, right? And Lurie was all upset. And he asked, he went, what did I do? I give to the community. I've got a good team. Every year we're in it. People love football in this. Why am I so hated? And as a result of that, he said, well, he realized it was Joe Banner, his president, who just did all this stuff that I'm telling you Harris is doing now. Just went for the money. That's all it was. There's nobody doing that now. You understand, Joshua Harris can walk down the streets of Philadelphia and nobody will say to him, you're an asshole, even though he is and they all know it. They won't do it. It's over. And that's what bothers me. Because this city used to have the power of its voice. And now the media has gone running away like cockroaches when you put the lights on, and there's nobody there to get them riled up.
Absolutely, man.
It's a disaster. That's how scoundrels like Joshua Harris get to be who he is.
I can't believe, Angelo, that in Philly now, these teams have so much more power over the media. Is this some of the things that you addressed in your speech last week when
I did.
You were talking? I mean, I wonder how that was received because, like you said, Angelo, sometimes you and me get called old man on my front lawn kind of guy. because we're pointing it out. But again, I just think it's a whole different media mentality. I mean, when I turn on WIP, it's like a psychiatrist class that's going on. Hey, I hope the coach is feeling. I'm like, I don't give a shit about the coach's mentality or how he feels. You're there to give your opinions on what you're seeing, right or wrong. Have conviction on what you're doing. But then when you get that tool Bob Lang calling up all these people, and now you see the Sixers doing that over this Marcus Hayes, I got to tell you, Angelo, that aggravated me. I'm usually on the player side, but when you're going around and make a concerted effort to tell media people not to report on a guy being assaulted is without a doubt one of the most criminal things I've ever heard in a city like that. I'm stunned that went on in that city when you're allowing that to go on. And then what the real crime is that the organization has succeeded. You succeeded with the Eskin thing with the Phillies, and now you're succeeding with this. That city, and the media have lost their balls.
Well, they have, and it's more and more frustrating to me. Although I am being told many, many times that I'm a dinosaur. That there isn't that mentality now.
But dinosaurs pointing out facts. How's that? And that's not being old. That's being you're out there looking out for the fans. You're not, Angelo. You don't wake up in the morning going, "Hey, how can I piss somebody off?" You piss people off because there's a lot of people that are pissing all over people.
Right.
That's nothing to do with age.
I did bring it up in my Hall of Fame, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame speech, but I got into a bad situation at that speech. All right. By the way, I'm not a great speech. I'm not that great. I'm great when I don't have to look at the crowd while I'm talking. Like,
you're an ad-libber.
This is good here when there's 300 people looking back at you.
I wonder why you were so great on the radio. You don't have a script. Gee, really?
I just assumed I was talking to a couple of friends. That's all. But anyway, so I came on and I did that thing, and there wasn't, that's not going to get. But they put me on last, right? So I followed Ryan Howard. I was on a few minutes before Chase Utley, before Jameer Nelson, right? And Joe DeCamera, my replacement at WIP, comes out and goes, and Angelo's going to be our last speaker, and he's going to bring the house down, all right? Now, at the time when he said that, I had 2 minutes, which is all they said they wanted me to do. And I had this shtick about what a bunch of pussies these media people are. So I'm sitting there. For 3 hours. There's 3 hours of speeches. And I'm going, I'm not bringing any house down.
Hey, it's like a Dean Martin roast. You're there for hours.
Yeah. I went, no, this is going to be a lead balloon. It's going to ruin the night. So I came up with another thing about a testimony of the fans, because I had Kenny Justice there, and through our show, he ended up getting a kidney donation. And I made it a little more inspirational, right?
Right.
So my original message, which is that the media are a bunch of pussies, I got lost.
Wait a minute. Hey, it's really great that we're getting a kidney. By the way, you over there, you're a pussy.
Yeah. So I didn't bring any house down, but at least it shook a little bit when Kenny got out there. And I went, he's alive today because of the generosity of the big heart of the fans of this city. And, fans love applauding for themselves. So that got a pretty good cheer. And I get the hell out of there. But I will continue the assault pretty much just on your podcast here, Danny, because otherwise nobody wants to hear it.
I'll tell you what, man, you get gigantic numbers every time that you pop on with us, man, and people want to hear you still. And I think it's because what you do. I tell people, and I've taken something from you, and the flattery for me is that, I mimic what you did. I go back and forth, and I call some of these people in here assholes. We go back and forth, but they're here the next day, each and every single day for 4 hours with me. And I sit there and tell them, I go, don't be offended. This is how we talk. It's the only place left in Philadelphia where, guess what? I'm not going to shut you down. I'm not going to censor you. this is the only place that you can go back and forth. And I brought you up and I said, one of the things, Angelo, a screen caller is not going to say, no, you can't go on and say that, because here you guys can come on and bitch at me all you want. All I care is that you and I are building a relationship up so that this is the only place that you can bitch. It's the last place that you can do that.
It may be because, look, you were called, your bosses were called about the way you do your show.
Weekly.
And weekly, and they don't back down. It's harder now for these other people. I don't just blame them. I blame the people that own these stations, that own these newspapers, and cave into all these threats that they make. And the one other thing I just want to mention there, because people may think, wow, he's smarter now than when he predicted the 5 wins, and I'm not. And I want to just say, I'm one of the morons who stayed up into Saturday morning watching Tyson and Jake Paul, that fight there. That was in the history of shams, scandals, and cons.
They got me too.
Number 1. Do you understand?
They got me too.
Number 1. I should have known when one of the 3 people in the broadcast booth was D-list actress Rosie
Perez. I said the same thing. I go, what's Rosie Perez
doing here? I hadn't even seen her in a movie in 25 years.
I go, White Man Can Jump? I go, that's the last movie I saw her in, was White Man Can't Jump. I go, I don't remember anything else.
I didn't know she was still alive, and she, as terrible as she was, and she was bad. The play-by-play guy, oh my God, over the top. Then this other jackass comes out afterwards and, Mike, wow, you put up a great fight. What are you? Even Mike knew that was horse shit.
Hey, but get this. But here's one thing too on that. So Netflix, you got to understand, on Christmas Day, it's Chiefs and Steelers on Netflix. If you're the NFL and you're Roger Goodell and you watch that shit show, you're really gonna put that on Christmas Day on Netflix? Oh my God!
The best part of that fight was when they lost the signal. At least for a few seconds, I didn't have to hear those idiots talking or watch Jake Paul after the 3rd round try to keep Tyson up. He's trying to keep him up.
I thought Tyson was falling asleep. I didn't know. I mean, it
was so bad. It was so bad. Oh my God.
That thing was an absolute.
So I'm still an idiot.
Hey, no. Hey, Angelo, I bought the damn thing. I bought the Netflix thing, and my wife goes, you never have to pay for it. How come, Angelo, I felt like sending Netflix a bill for my time?
Yes. It was awful. It was so bad. 60 million people watched some of that crap. Oh, what a moron.
Hey, finally, Angelo, do you believe, how far does this Eagle team go, in your opinion?
Well, they're definitely in the playoffs, and right now it looks like they might win a round. I mean, they got enough talent to do that. I need to see.
No way, Angelo. They're going to get bounced. They're going to get bounced. They're going to get bounced.
This is not last year. They're not as bad as they were when they were 10-1. They're playing better than that. But I'm not on board yet. I'm not. I got to see some more, Dan. I got to see the play some good teams. I got to see more.
I want to see the Rams and Ravens and the Steelers.
Right. But after my 5-win prediction, it's not like people are knocking down my door to see what I have next on this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know how people are going like this. Get Angelo on here. Make him eat crow. I ate crow too because I picked the Commander. I ate my crow. I had my plate of crow last week, and I told people, I go, I've never done that in my 35 years of broadcasting, that I had a crow dish, and I said, okay, I'll eat my crow. So everyone came in last week, and I ate my crow, and I said, okay. I go, I'm still not buying you guys, man. I want to see these guys against some really good competition. And I don't really I think the Commanders are coming along. They got a young quarterback. It's a brand new franchise, but we'll see. Hey, Angelo, how can people find the website
Yeah.
The book, everything. It's also on audio. Tell the folks, please.
I'm writing every week on my blog. It's at AngeloCataldi.com. Just go to blogs. You'll see it this week. It's got Joel Embiid down in pain holding his left knee.
I think he hurt his knee.
Never heals. The knee that never heals.
From what I understand, I think he hurt his knee falling off his wallet.
Yeah, $50 million this year. You don't have to play for that, do you?
And one last thing on the Sixers. Can you help me out? What has Daryl Morey done?
Well,
what has he ever won?
No, he's never won anything. And he's doing great because the value of the franchise is going up, and that's making Joshua Harris richer. And as long as he's getting richer, the owner is happy. On his scoreboard, he's always winning because he's rich. He's a billionaire.
Yeah, him and Lori on their yachts.
Yeah, dueling yachts. Let's have a yacht race.
Dueling yacht races on the Chesapeake Bay. You got Josh Harris and you got Jeffrey Lurie. Whose yacht is faster?
Now that's entertainment. Call Netflix. I'd like to see Rosie Perez announce that fight.
Yeah, it would be more entertaining, that thing. Angelo, thank you, my friend.
My friend, always a pleasure, Daddy. Thanks.
You bet. That is our friend, Angelo Cataldi. I'm with him, man. Kind to stay so long. Angelo's not sold. Woo! Angelo's not sold. Man. All right. Yeah. Bottom of the hour, Gary Cobb. We will talk with him. We're going to try to sneak Xander in here somewhere. We also have Marcus Hayes joining us at 5:30 Eastern. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.